Be better.
Yes.
Okay, good evening, calling to order the committee of the school committee of the whole meeting of December 17, 2024. We'll all rise and salute the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In attendance, we have Ms. Stacy Rizzo,
Yeah.
Mr. Fred Sinella, present, Ms. Aisha Milbury Ellis,
Present.
Mr. Anthony Caggiano,
Present.
and Mr. John Kingston, present, and Patrick Keith is here.
Do you want to note that,
And also we have,
that Ms. Monteroso's?
yes, listen, first off, if we can all send a warm wish to Miss Monteroso and her husband Victor on their, I believe their 1 year anniversary.
Yes,
Congratulations. I hope you're having a good evening. We give you an excuse to miss tonight. Only on the first year and the 20th, okay, Victor?
That's it.
Very good. We have the consent calendar approval of minutes.
I have no questions on it.
Any questions on the minutes? Minutes? No questions, all right. And the attached warrants? Any questions on the warrants?
Yeah.
Sure, Mr. Kajal?
On the 155, the North Shore Community College, page 5.
okay,
Is that part of the program we talked about where they could earn their credits towards their associate degree while at the high school? Was this part of the same program?
so that's for kids who, it's the Gateway to College program, so they attend North Shore full-time. It's not a dual enrollment class,
Okay,
they attend there full-time and they get high school credit and college credit at the same time. I believe we have 6 kids in that program right now, right?
Any other questions on the warrants?
No.
No? Okay,
So in January, I'll be able to give you a report for the first half of the fiscal year. And then that fourth Thursday in January, the governor should put out her budget and we'll go full steam ahead on our budget work.
Do you want to mention, special education?
Oh, yeah, so one of the things that we'll tackle in detail at that meeting is that our special education budget. We met 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe, with special education director, just to say, hey, this happens. There's some years we don't outplace as many kids, some year there's a surge. And then there's also some residentials. And then there's a struggle placing teachers in classroom positions. So we're using agencies to fill those positions, which comes at a premium of cost. So when you have an increase in tuitions out and an increase in residential students and an increase in agency placements, back to back weights on that budget.
And the other thing that I'll add, that has been an unexpected weight on the budget this year is the tutoring of all of the kids that we removed from the high school. Because of the fighting in the beginning of the year, we still have to educate them, of course. So, but that's an added expense that we didn't budget for.
we're talking.
If everything froze right now, we'd be talking about somewhere around $1 million of deficit out of a $15-16 million budget line. So percentage wise, it's not a ton. But what we do in the first 6 months, or in this case, we met in late November on it, is say, is there anything that's, moving in a direction of keeping our eye on that and be aware of it. So special ed is the one place that you'll see in the January report, you'll see some red letters on.
Significant red, more than usual.
Yeah, and then we have several different ways of addressing that, which we'll talk about with Ways and Means. And also, some of those students, like just today, I closed, I think, $70,000 of a purchase order because a student moved who had been outplaced. So it's a little bit of an up and down, but typically you won't have more tuitions plus 2 or 3 new residential students who can be $250,000 each.
Mm,
And then placement agencies having 6 or 7 or 8 different placements in offices. So when I present the 6 months to you, you'll notice some red in special education, and we'll have an addendum so that you see that. And then anything else that's tracking that way, we'll have a 6-month report the next time we're together.
And just in terms of how we anticipate managing that, one thing we're looking at doing is taking our, normally we don't touch circuit breaker until the year after. It comes in. And so this year, if we still have a deficit, we would use some of that circuit breaker money in this fiscal year to balance off that over expenditure that we did in special education. But we're hoping that we get that number a lot tighter before we have to go to that point.
Right.
So it's not, we're not concerned that we're not gonna be able to pay, or that we're not gonna have the money, we're all good, but it's,
I was just looking for a number, so I know, yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
better than saying 5. that's
yeah,
all.
we just gotta pay closer attention to it and really be careful.
Yeah,
Thank
but if you remember last year, in the budget process, we said, hey, our special education is over budgeted. And we've been so generous with that budget, so then in the budget that you voted for this year, it wasn't irresponsible by any means, but you tightened it up. And of course, Murphy's Law says,
Right.
as soon as we tighten it up,
You're
we'll
gonna
have
need
one
it.
of these years. If you took a 6 or 7 year history, you would see, again, this kind of, you just can't predict what's gonna happen in a given year.
Mm.
So when we present those numbers, you'll notice in the 504 services, psychological evaluations and tuitions, you'll see some red. And it's at the end of the 6 months that we can give like a clear 6 months in report on that and whatever else is happening. So we'll have that conversation at that point, but just know that that's one of the things that we're meeting with proactively and keeping an eye on and have a means to address it. And then if there's continued acceleration, then we'll address that too as we go.
Okay.
No,
Thank you.
Mr. Sinell has a question.
Diane, on the tuition out for these students, the fighters. That's not under special education.
No, they're not tuitioned out. They are excluded from the school community, but we still have to educate them, so we're paying the tutoring service
Okay,
to tutor them.
so I mean, it's not an outside placement, transportation.
Correct, no, it's none of that. Most of them are at home, some of them are meeting at the Revere Public Library, and some of them are doing online
It's
tutoring.
virtual, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of it is virtual. It depends on the kid. We work it out with the families,
Citywide.
but it's an expense, and it's an expense we didn't plan for, and it's an expense we didn't plan for times 15
Oh, I
kids,
know that.
you know, so
I can't
it adds
go
up
here.
pretty quickly.
Fred, the reason we verbalize it as special education is that the special education department procures the services
Sorry,
for that kind of tutoring. And then typically it would be hospitalization.
Yeah.
And so now this year, where that number would have been, there's 15 plus students who are also receiving those services. So you'll see the deficit in the special education line because we're using those procured services to meet this unexpected population who's needing tutoring.
Well, you hear special ed, you think ed plan and the
Yeah,
whole thing,
yeah.
so, thank you for the heads up. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Any other questions from? Financials, okay. Food service financials, none, communications, none, enrollment update. Personnel items, we have new hires and retirements, resignations, terminations. Dr. Kelly.
You got it.
thanks.
Ms. Rizzo,
Dr. Galucci, I see that we hired one nurse. How many are we down at this point?
I believe we have one position open at the Beachmont School.
That is so
I
good.
know.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, we hired 2 nurses.
That-
I just met with the second nurse today, so that's why I might not be on there.
And where's that one going?
Jill Herwig has decided to put them at the West Revere complex for now, but it's gonna be an as-need position,
Is that 3 over there?
yes. So initially, we had conversations perhaps about maybe like 3 days at the West Revere, 2 days at Garfield, because they're the two most populated schools.
Mhm.
So that's still in the works. Then Jill's gonna work that out with the new nurse.
Now, will that nurse be able to at least assist with hearing and vision and throughout the city?
I don't know if we got that far in the details, but I would think yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if not, our float nurse, assuming we have 100% attendance, would also be able to assist with that, so we got a good bench.
Thank you.
Dr. Galucci, are they deemed city side nurses or school nurses? Good.
Both nurses were school side
All
hires.
right. Wonderful. Get used to it.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
Well,
Well, just so you know, our intention is always to hire a nurse who's licensed by the Department of Education. They're just really hard to find.
Agreed.
And the reason that the structure was set up to have the city side nurses was because for a time we had no nurses. There was no way to hire nurses, and we still encourage the nurses that we hire on the city side to get their license and move to the school side.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge we have with that is they make more money on the city side,
Mhm.
especially when they initially start. So I know that's something that we eventually gonna have to work out to try
Phase
to
out.
make that a little more equitable. Hmm?
We do reimburse the city though, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's,
So why-
no,
no
no,
offense,
it's,
so why-
it's more about the oversight and
Oh, okay.
and
I'm sorry.
who they report to.
And the
Understood.
union, they're in a different, they're in a union at the city that
Yeah.
I think is,
It's a different union. And
Correct.
also, technically, it's a different work week. It's a different work year.
yeah.
So the reason that there's more pay is it's based off of the 365-day a year
Mm.
work week versus the school is a little different. So there's some anomalies, but there was mostly due to the pandemic and not being able to hire. So the hopes and the intentions for everybody, for everyone's best interest is to make sure that everyone's on the school
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
and I will say on the advantageous side for us. The city starting salary may be better, but our ceiling's better.
Yeah,
And
I
then
understand.
also, we're looking for someone to really do a crosswalk of the two retirement systems. So
Mm.
we have a nurse at the high school, very early in her career, she's on the city side. At some point, the school side's gonna surpass. And then if you think about the MTRS retirement benefits, it would be more beneficial for her to go to.
The BOS,
benefits.
yeah,
Yeah,
essentially for the
So-
retirement plus and all
yeah,
that,
so-
which the city doesn't
yeah.
have.
and so Jill and Lauren Buck really have their eye on that, and they're mapping out that kind of, those conversations.
And at one time, we had a city nurse end up taking her MTELs and come over to the
Yeah.
school side. So that was a good thing.
Yeah.
But I want to thank Lauren Buck and
Yeah.
Dr. Galucci for really spearheading this
Yeah.
and pushing it back to the schools
Yeah.
where they belong.
Any other updates on hires and retirements or resignations or anything? No? We're doing pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Good to hear. Okay, acceptance of donations and gifts. We have the reader donation. PK, do you wanna?
yeah, and I don't have any, I don't know if, oh, here it is, right, this is it, yeah.
I have some.
So you should have something in your packet about, the Reader to Readers Book Donation Program has donated millions of books to schools and public libraries. They provide district-wide book donations for public schools in low-income areas and statewide donations for public libraries. The Lincoln School is receiving 600 books free of charge from this
Wonderful.
program.
Mhm.
So because we estimate that that would be a gift over $1,000, the school committee needs to
Mhm.
approve that. They anticipate that it'll be formally announced in January, and with the committee's approval, they would accept that gift.
Is this the program that was tied with Representative Gino or?
No,
No, this is
separate.
another
Oh,
one.
wow.
This is in addition to, so,
Yeah.
yeah, so the Lincoln School kids are still gonna get their 10 books each from the program that
Rep. Gino?
Rep. Janino put together. And the teachers at the Lincoln School, like the teachers at all of our elementary schools, will also get their 20 books to their classroom. So they're getting that, and then this is in addition to, and these 600 books will be in the school library. I know that Principal Sermon is putting together a team of teachers they get a list and they can pick which books they want. And so they're gonna decide, and that'll be a school-based library in the library, in addition to the books the kids get and the teachers get.
That's
So Yeah, lots of books this year.
Yeah.
Even the JetBlue donation that they did at the beach
That was
lunch, and
nice.
it's hit in addition to the books from
Mhm.
Rep Shanino, so there's a lot.
Great. My daughter comes home with a couple of books every couple of months or.
Yeah,
month or
it's
so. Yeah. It's wonderful.
It's awesome.
Okay. And the Metro North YMCA,
Yeah, that's the second gift. They're actually coming tomorrow. We just found out about this last week. They have a grant and they're giving us $100 gift cards to give out to students in need. And so what we're gonna do is with the committee's permission to accept that. So this is through the United Way that is giving these out through local YMCA's, and you know, they're then reaching out to their catchment areas, Riviera being part of the catchment area for Metro North YMCA. And so we'll have those 100 gift cards that will proportion to the schools based on enrollment. And the principals, together with their social workers, will identify kids who could most benefit from those, so.
and just regarding, so Metro North, I imagine, is that the Lynn site? Or is it a very of the YMCA?
Is it Lynn or is it Everett? I'm not sure.
think-
doesn't have a well.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
it's
so it must be
Lynn.
Lynn then.
Yeah, Lynn has a pretty big one.
Yeah, once.
Yeah.
So Malden has one, Lynn has one. And just for the viewing audience, I know that whenever we bring up the word Y or Boys and Girls Club, there's always like, why isn't there one in Revere?
Mhm.
And as Dr. Kelly mentioned, they base it off of population, off of demographics and where they can maximize getting the amount of people. So the YMCA has been reaching out. We've been having fruitful conversations in the last 6 months. They are starting to see that the Revere population could benefit from the Y, and now they are looking at space in the city. We've been accommodating and welcoming because they are a nonprofit organization. So we're working on seeing what we can offer as a community, and you know, there's ongoing conversations. So if there is meant to be a Y in the city, then we'll do our best to attract them and do what we have to do just to make sure that we're incentivizing them, and hopefully that will come, because the interest has peaked over the last couple of years, but even more so in the last couple of months.
Didn't we have one a while ago?
There was one in
In
Beachmont.
Beachmont,
That
yeah.
was that a Boys and Girls
It was a
Club?
boys,
Yeah.
boys and girls club, but
Right.
it's obviously gone.
It's missed.
Fox there.
Yeah.
If I
Jim
may,
Kennedy.
Out there.
as a point of information, we had tried many moons ago. We raised, funds, and they ran carnivals. The money we raised put lights at Harry De La Russo Stadium that there was just, we couldn't get the interest, couldn't get the financing, but I'm very pleased to hear that there's an outreach for it. We at the time felt it was something the city could benefit with and from. And Mr. Mayor, you kind of filled the gaps that we probably weren't even aware of that. But
Yeah.
congratulations.
Yeah, and it's very early, and who knows, but again, it was for some time, it was like, no, we're operating in certain cities, we have enough. We have enough to cover your area. Now they're realizing their capacity at Lynn and capacity in Malden, and they have the ability to expand further, as long as they're able to find the financing, right? Because
And the location.
and the location.
In the meantime, I'm grateful for what they're giving us now, so I'll
That's-
take that
that's-
and say thank you.
Thank you, yeah, right, thank you.
Very generous.
Applicants got a lot.
So, and I'm just noticing the email is from Kathleen Walsh, who's the president and CEO of YMCA of Metro North. And the address on here, which might be an office, not the actual Y, is 10 Centennial Drive in Peabody. So,
128, yeah.
yeah,
So can we take those two items off so we can vote to accept them
Mhm.
on the floor?
sure.
Field trips.
We have two field trips coming before you. The first is from the Harvard Model Congress for Revere High School. It's February 20th to 23rd, which is during the vacation week. And you should have this in your packet. It's Tara Mitchell and Megan Orbowitz. I'm gonna say her name wrong. What is it? Rugorovitz. They'll be taking the kids They'll be staying at the Sheridan Hotel. Harvard is paying for it. The National Guard is providing transportation. So it's really zero cost for any of the kids involved. We've done this field trip in the past. It's amazing. The kids love it. They learn a lot. They impress everybody with their skills and knowledge.
What does it consist of? So,
So the kids are assigned to different teams. And it's almost like a debate and a learning how to vote and push measures forward and negotiate and do things like that, the way a Congress
Right.
would engage with each other and put arguments before each other. Are you going?
To the Harvard Medical Center.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything else about what it is?
So basically what it is if you're familiar with Model United Nations, it's kind of like that where you can either pretend to be or emulate the position of either a senator or a representative, or if you get a special event like I've done in the past, you can emulate a country, certain person or fictional character, or you can do like a media. In the past, students have gained, or students have gotten, usually $60+ in like usually food stipend from Harvard for the weekend. And along with that, it's mostly a time where you get to interact with students from not just in Massachusetts, but around the United States and even like sometimes around the world. So it's like it's a great opportunity and every single year we have fun with it. So
Excellent.
Great,
Thank you.
Thank you for the information.
They have contests and awards where they'll pick a team that had the best argument or had the best persuasive discussion, and things like that. So it's pretty cool. And our kids win awards every year. The second field trip is to the Hale Educational Leadership Program in Westwood. And Hale is a partner with us with City Lab. The sophomores spend 1 day a week down there already. Is that right, Nick? Is it 1 day a week?
2 days a week.
2 days a week that they spend down there. But this field trip that they're talking about is an overnight, January 16th to 17th. And they would stay at the Hale facilities down in Westwood. Hale's whole mission is around external learning opportunities and helping kids engage with the world, really, and nature. It's an extension of their semester curriculum focus on immersive outdoor settings. There are going to be 34 kids. That would be the maximum that Hale can allow. It might be less than that, but the most it would be is 34 with 2 chaperones. Again, there's no cost for any of this. Our partnership with Hale is currently supported through one of the grants that City Lab has as an innovation school. And they've already worked out with our transportation department that they would be able to bring them down and bring them home.
Excellent.
And
thank you.
there's a very detailed itinerary behind that. If you want to take a look at that, and also Nick is here, he can answer any questions. He's, I imagine, one of the chaperones that's
Yes,
gonna go.
yeah, I want to point people for this.
Yeah. Do you want to add anything, Nick, to what I said?
I'm sorry, yeah, just an extension of some of the year-long semester that we've been doing the semester-long curriculum we've been doing at Hale with outdoor leadership skills. Also some of the core subjects we've been bringing outdoors, we'll present later on today, tonight. But yeah, it's kind of like the end of the semester kind of celebration, but also kind of last for kind of thing.
One question, when it has, you got first aid training, do they get CPR? I mean.
Yes, the
certification?
Hale folks there, they're all trained,
Okay.
and all that
Okay.
kind of stuff, and they have other medical, yeah, the basic stuff there.
Mr. Mead.
Is it-
So with 2 chaperones, 34 students, the students going and you feel comfortable that these students, 2 adults can handle.
Definitely, and as Dr. Kelly mentioned, 34 is our max, so 34 is our whole possible list. I imagine it's most likely going to be, I guess, probably high teens, mid-20s max.
Mm.
Also the two chaperones, that's like the minimum number, it's just
Mhm.
me and another, Hill personnel. We also might have another city lab teacher. We're just waiting to get, everything approved, but I'll also, before I ask other people to join in.
As long as you're comfortable,
Oh, definitely, yeah. The students we have, I feel very comfortable with that.
that's the whole.
You
thing.
go with
You
them
know
now,
them.
correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
I go with them every Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
With that. Yeah, I think they're definitely a bunch.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
There's one more, Dr. King.
oh, there is one more, I realized it's in here, okay. Revere High School Outdoors Club, Beth Ann Goldman and, Jerry Geezer. This is Friday, January 31st through Sunday, February 2nd, up in the White Mountains. They do this trip each year, and the Outdoors Club goes up and, does some camping and hiking. Their agenda is, again, very detailed, in behind.
Mhm.
Sounds gold.
Yes, good point.
All right, so those are the 3 field trips.
So should we
Oh, I
take
have
those
those.
off the agenda and approve them separate, or do you feel comfortable voting them as a group? On the floor,
Group is fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, group's fine.
Right?
I'm okay with that.
why don't you give me this?
Talking about the regular meeting.
as consensuality, yeah.
Giving it to handle.
Oh, I see, okay.
So everyone's in favor of, as the group as a whole, I'm not, can think I'm great.
Yes.
Fantastic. So remainder of the school year meeting dates, it looks like you passed these around. Um. I believe I'm away on the 25th. But everything else should be good. You guys would live without me. It's also my birthday, but you know.
February first.
We'll have a cake for you
You shall,
in your absence.
Vanilla or chocolate?
vanilla.
Already got your gift, now, John.
What was
The
that?
chocolates.
Oh,
The
that was for the office. That was for the office, not just for the, we can't do that. We
Tax
don't want to
day.
break any rules.
Mm.
And that was definitely $150.
June 17.
That's a holiday, isn't it? Father Kelly?
What day?
June
15th?
17th, isn't that
No.
Oh, Juneteenth.
The 19th.
19th is the
the
19th.
19th?
Okay.
All right, you got fine by me, I know.
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, nothing about it, yeah,
Yeah.
it just kicked out to me. Yeah, June 19th, sorry.
And I know there's a discussion for meeting locations for the upcoming year. Anyone have any? Snell?
I mean, yes, I think we can establish once and for all specifically. Whether we remain at the school committee room or City Hall, which graciously has made room for us.
Graciously.
Well, that's peace offering. Anyway, I, for one, am not comfortable in our pre-meetings in this room. I would like to see us revert back to the council, to the school committee room and conduct all business, any and all business there. And to thank the city council and, well, the mayor indirectly, that we do stay in our own facility. So that's my point, so see what the members feel.
If I may. We're strapped for space, and even though no, Dr. Kelly doesn't need the classroom right now, we can always utilize the classroom. But on the flip side also, on the next election, we're gonna have 2 other seats. And we won't have room. So we're gonna be moving either now, or what are we gonna do when there's another 2 positions?
Well, I think that we're flexible enough that we can add 2 chairs. I don't think that, we have territorial rights to certain areas, I mean, it's reconfiguration. And if it becomes a classroom, we meet in the evening and it shouldn't interfere with anything of the nature that's gonna prevent it from being used as a classroom.
Did we already vote on this? So
I thought we did, that's what I'm.
that's what my question was too, is I thought we already voted on this earlier in the year.
I'm not aware of it. Double check, Ms. Rizzo?
So I'm gonna say, yes, they're going to be using it. When I saw it on the agenda, I asked Dr. Kelly, they are going to use it for the second semester. But it will not be used after school hours. So, I mean, I'm just looking at for everyone, I can't say everyone, but for whether it's our student rep, whether it's for parking reasons, because even though City Hall might close at 5 o'clock, that parking lot's not empty at 4:30 for us to arrive. So I think of that and trying to get there on time. I don't mind the stairs. I can do the stairs.
There's an elevator.
It's a parking lot. I'm not doing an elevator. I'm not that old yet. I just think, you know, again, we do have 2 extra people coming next year. If you look at other school committees in their setup, a lot of times they're only folding tables and they configure it to whatever they need. So a side table, let's say on the wall where I sit, a side table with the student rep and the assistant superintendent right there, to me is not a huge problem. I just think it's more accommodating for everyone. I wasn't here for a vote. I know it was talked about in this room for a committee of the whole. But I was not here for that, so I don't know, and I tried to look at the minutes and I really couldn't find anything. I know there was discussion.
Maybe it was just a discussion.
There was
I don't
discussion.
That
remember.
might have been, I don't.
I'm not sure.
remember.
Yeah.
I know we definitely discussed it. Because we even talked about, we talked about how that room would be available first semester, that they didn't need it
Mhm.
for classes. I remember that being part of the conversation, but that they would need it for second semester.
So if we had like a subcommittee meeting, what would we do?
We
For
wouldn't be able to use that
Yeah.
room, but we could use this space or over there. If it needed to be private, we would have to look for somewhere else.
And same thing, subcommittee, where are we gonna have them? It's not like you can just say, I'm gonna have one within 48 hours at City Hall somewhere without a plan. I mean, you know, and subcommittees don't have to be anywhere specific. I mean,
That's what I was gonna say.
huh?
No, but I mean, this is open to the kids during the day. I mean, it is, so.
Right, but these rooms are usually booked through Robin.
Yeah, like you
This-
could book that room over there that's closed off.
No, I'm
It
sure, I'm
has a
just throwing it
conference
out there
table.
just for
Yeah,
conversation, discussion, that's all.
yeah.
It just seems like, it's a room, we're always talking about there's no space. It just seems like it could be a room that could be used for whatever it is that you deem it
But it will
necessary
be for
for.
day and night.
Whether it's a,
I'll be honest, it's obviously easier for me to use the city hall. But so, I mean, and I thought it was about accommodating, more so when we get the 2 new members on.
Yeah,
So, but I'm, you know, either or, you know, as long as we are making sure that we have the right space. City Hall is easy for me. I'll walk up 1 flight of stairs, you know?
Again, I don't care about the stairs. You know, and then I had heard that, unfortunately, joint meetings aren't even warranted in that, and this is hearsay, so I apologize if it's wrong, but that we're not really even wanted sitting in those seats. And I can I can understand to a point, that's their territory and, you know, how they might feel about us or vice versa. With 2 different entities and they have their own space.
well, if there's any truth to that, I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
Well,
for all
traffic
public-
commission
Well,
was there.
it's and that's why.
The traffic commission meeting
Servants
there.
and those seats are
Yeah.
paid for by the tax
Planning
dollars
sits in there.
for them to borrow, not to own. So if there's any truth to that, then I highly take offense to it, and I think
Yeah.
it's very
And
childish.
again,
It's
like
like
I
a
said,
two
it's hearsay, so
assault.
don't go jumping on the council. You know what? It could have been one person talking to another person and we know Revere.
And I understand where you're coming from, Ms. Rizzo. And I highly doubt it as well, but I also, you know, you never know, things do get taken out of that context, but. It's used by many boards and bodies, so and usually very accommodating. Obviously, this is gonna have to be, if this is a contentious enough debate, then we should have have it in the form of a true motion, have some more discussion maybe in the following meeting. But
And just have a vote for it and move on.
yeah, we can definitely do that.
Well, if. I
We have
may-
good options on either one, right?
When Superintendent Dakin always stressed the need for having it here because in case they needed something. I don't remember ever having to get anything. Oh, let's ask your opinion, what you would.
Well, for the same reason that the mayor was just saying how much he would appreciate having it at City Hall. I feel the same way about having it here. I mean,
Right.
it's obviously more convenient.
Right.
And that's exactly that, Freddie. Like my thought of what I have to put together and make sure I have in order to be able to answer the questions that you all have when we have these meetings. I worry a little bit if I'm at City Hall, what do I not have access to? I don't know. I think of stupid little things like the internet. Like I have a hard time getting on the internet at City Hall. Here, I know my machine's gonna work. I know Paul's right there. I know Matt's got all of his finance stuff right there, and just the comfort of knowing that all that stuff is a phone call or a
Do
text
you see a
message.
problem with us using it at night and the school using it during the day?
I don't. The glitch for me would be the subcommittee meetings. We couldn't count on having that space available for them during the day. Cause so if they
Yeah, but
put classes
That's
in
never
there,
been the issue with the subcommittee, we can meet anywhere. You know,
that's great.
we
Yeah,
can-
with that in mind, I don't
Right,
think it's a
yeah, that's
problem.
not-
Yeah.
We do have some.
Yeah, regardless, we go to City Hall, I mean,
Yeah.
we could meet anyway, that's not a big deal.
And we are talking about something that's probably, regardless of what we do, it's a short term, because in 2028 or so, you know.
We can do whatever we
we'll
want
have a
when
little bit more
we
space, so
Do that room.
this could be a really short term decision.
Mhm. Especially so the new folks will come on in January of
26.
26, okay. Yeah, okay. So it's really 2.5 years.
We have time.
Yeah.
I'll do whatever. I'll meet in the middle of the parking lot if we have to. Okay.
So, we'll vote
Especially
on
on
that
a
the
day
next
like
meeting.
today,
then?
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the agenda
vote
for
on the
next
next
meeting.
I think this could be a good agenda topic for next meeting.
So I'll put it, it should go on the next meeting's agenda, Robin, in the form of a motion,
Correct.
right?
But where's the meeting gonna take place, the next one? At City Hall or here?
No,
We'll-
we're not changing it.
We'll be here. The second semester doesn't start till February, so we're fine meeting here.
Okay. Right, good. Discussion's great.
The democratic process. To walk down the hall or to walk up the stairs?
He who brings nothing with him.
Hey. Like I said, I get,
Those.
I know, and I get it. This is also good school territory, so it's good to be here too. It's part of, getting into the school.
There's something to be said for the school committee being in the
It's
school. having
I agree with you
meetings,
there.
know.
And I will say there's a few that have always been jealous because Medford doesn't have a school committee room.
Mhm.
Everett was happy when they started doing it at the high school, which was a beautiful room to do it in anyhow,
yeah.
but there's some that don't have any and some that just have folding chairs and so I mean, we have a lot.
Okay, thank you. And then the last item is, meeting agenda and miscellaneous items, anything?
I have a question. And of course, I'm not gonna find it,
Well, welcome.
under the drive. Itinerary. Untitled document. It was brought to my attention. And then I did see something on, the council meeting the other day. That. Something was suggested as overhauling the whole school committee. And, he was told, or the person was told, she, that if anything was said, his family members would be retaliated against. So I was told this, but then I watched the council meeting to see if it was true, and it was true, the person said it. And I was wondering if anyone heard of anything. I haven't even heard of an overhaul of the school committee.
Wait, I'm
I don't
confused.
understand.
These are the exact words. the person has been threatened and has been called names and also trying to cancel him. And when he suggested an overhaul of the school committee, he was told that if he said anything, his family members would retaliate it against them.
I
Can
don't
I
know
add some
anything about
context to
that.
this? I didn't hear the specific comments, but I think this was during public speak. A member of the public came up and spoke to the council.
Mhm.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about, but I think I know what you're talking about. I don't know if this is something we really should elaborate on. We're adding oxygen to
It's something that.
to something that is.
I wanted to know, because if someone heard something about the overhaul of the school committee, I kind of would want to know about what and they might be good suggestions, who knows, but I haven't heard anything, so that's why I wanted to ask if anyone's heard something.
Chris, I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
Mhm.
An overhaul usually means voting people out.
Yeah, and
Oh,
I
well,
don't know.
stand in line.
Gotcha.
Maybe we'll get to adjourn. Was there any-
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, like,